Okay, teleprompter loading. Let's go. Today's video is a bit of this. And this is the sovereign AI reality check for India's AI. You see, as a technology journalist who has tracked India's technology story and evolution over the last 20 years, I'm deeply invested and hopeful for Indian companies winning in the global AI race. So videos like this are with that intention to hold ourselves accountable, because without accountability, you cannot achieve success or excellence. So any comparison to global entities is just for context and not to show Indian companies down or smaller. India's AI. You know, India tried to build its own ChatGPT, its own Claude, spending hundreds of millions of dollars. This week, the previous week, Inc. 42, which is a newsroom, published India's sovereign AI reality check, asking the real hard question: where did all of this millions of dollars of money go? And what does India have to show for it that the world cares about? Of course, we are very supportive of our homegrown solutions, but दुनिया को क्या लेना देना है? In March 24, Government of India approved the India AI mission with a budget of a whopping $1.25 billion. That's like 10,371 crores over 5 years. The goal was simple: making AI in India and making AI work for India. Now, compute, the basic of all of this, is ramping up. 10,000 GPUs have expanded to 38,000 deployed so far, and a target of 1 lakh by late 2026. Startups are getting this at 42% below market rate, a huge win and a cost saving for small teams. But, all of this sounds epic. Here's some context and comparison. India's total private AI investment over 11 years, from 2013, that's right, AI used to exist even back then, to 2024 was $11.1 billion. 11 years, $11 billion. That's what AI Indian companies raised. In 25 alone, US AI funding surged to $121 billion. China's projected AI capital expenditure for 2025 was up to $98 billion. OpenAI alone raised $40 billion in March 2025. This gap is not a gap. It's the Grand Canyon. It's a chasm. Now let's look at what is being built despite such low funding in India. What's actually working? Number one, Sarvam AI. It's the bacha of the space. Sarvam AI is doing the most credible work right now. They are not competing with Google Gemini or Anthropic's Claude on general reasoning, but on India's specific needs. And they're winning. Bulbul, their text-to-speech system for Indian languages, supports over 35 voices across 11 languages, and it's being used in production by agri-tech companies like Kisan AI. Sarvam's vision, their OCR system, scored 84.3% accuracy on the OLM OCR benchmark, outperforming Google's Gemini 80.2% and ChatGPT 69.8% on a specific measurable task. Mind you, these are Sarvam's figures. Nobody's verified them yet. Indus Chatbot, launched in beta, is running a 105 billion parameter model and supports multiple Indian languages in text, audio. HMD, the Nokia phone maker, is bundling it into their Vibe 2 5G smartphone as well. Sarvam is also looking at developing AI-powered smart glasses unveiled in February at the India AI Impact Summit to run Indian language AI at the edge, in wearables. Sarvam is competitive in a specific lane, Indic language tasks. That is phenomenally impressive given the constraints and just the sheer variety. Part 3, the structural barriers. You see, the conversation about India not having a company like OpenAI or Anthropic usually frames it as a failure of ambition. No, not true. The barriers are structural. India's AI centers of excellence were allocated only $57 million combined, which is not at all sufficient for cutting-edge research. Sarvam's largest model, 105 billion parameters, is an order of magnitude smaller than frontier models, often exceeding 1 trillion parameters trained on much larger GPU clusters. Of the world's top 100 AI companies with an Indian co-founder, only one is India domiciled. The talent is Indian, the companies are not registered here. We all know why. Willingness to pay. OpenAI subsidizes its ChatGPT Go plan at 399 rupees per month in India, operating at almost zero margin to dominate the market. Local startups cannot compete with a product being sold below cost by a company that raised $40 billion in one round. Regulation asymmetry. Indian regulators tightly police domestic startups, while multinational AI models face lighter oversight. So, the right question. The question is not why don't we have our own OpenAI, our own Anthropic, our own Higgs field. That is the patriotic, nationalistic, emotionally satisfying question for 9 p.m. screaming matches. The real useful question is, where can Indian companies build something genuinely useful, defensible and necessary given India's unique structural position? And the answer almost always lies in concentrating capital where India has the highest advantage: local context, multilingual data, customer relationships and regulatory navigation. Sarvam's Bulbul is beating 11 labs on Indian languages. That is the real opportunity, and players like Sarvam are already on it. You see, India is the second largest AI consumer market on the planet by total weekly active users. We are deeply consuming AI, but the revenue flows out and the data flows in. The domestic infrastructure is in early, very fragile, but genuinely promising formation. As Inc. 42 notes, the risk is becoming an extra in the global AI race, not in the domestic one. That domestic story is already being written. We are already seeing some winners over there. So let's wrap it up. This entire debate connects to the physical infrastructure. Google's largest data center outside the United States is coming up in Visakhapatnam. Microsoft's $3.7 billion commitment in Telangana, and Reliance's $120 billion AI commitment. The infrastructure is coming to India, but the question raised by a recently viral ERC investigation is who gets to decide and who pays the cost. This applies to the entire sovereign AI debate. The ambition is real, the gaps are structural, and the pace is being set by a very small number of people, both in Washington, Beijing, and New Delhi. All the sources to everything that I've mentioned are linked in the description. Read them, they are worth your time. And also, if you see or hear something which does not check out, feel free to write to me. I read each and every comment. I hope you enjoyed this video and my research on AI with Ankit this week. Thanks so much for watching. Share this with all the right people that you think need to watch this and wake up and start building. Thank you so much for watching. Dhanyavad.